Hello everyone and welcome to week 4. Let's start working on the lab prep and lab 3 that is going to be about the basic data visualization. Previously, we've learned how to create the pivot tables, how to calculate the measures of central tendency or measures of variability, and today we're going to start talking about the data visualization. In the lecture, we learned about different types of the graphs and charts that we can create in the environment of Excel and a Tableau. And now we're going to start working on those types of the charts inside the environment of Excel first, and then we will go over Tableau. So first, let's download the data set in the lab prep. Click on this arrow and then save it in the place that you would like to have access to this easily. So I'm gonna just keep that in here. Then let's go back. And there's also, so this data set inside the lab is the same as the one that I just downloaded from the lab prep. And this is what we are gonna download and use it in the Tableau, okay? So I'm gonna download this in the same location that I have my Excel workbook. Okay, now let's go to the folder and open this Excel file. Inside the Excel, there are several worksheets which explains the steps that we're going to follow together. In the orders worksheet, you can see the data set that we're going to be working on. It includes the individual orders that are purchased at specific dates, and they include the ship date and the name of the people and name of the product and the type of the product. There are different categorical and numerical variables over here, like about the markets, what is the discount rate, and etc. And you have all that information, which we are going to be working on with some of those variables in this data set to create the charts that we discussed in the lecture. Okay, so if the first step is to format this as a table. This is already a table for me. If for you guys it is not formatted as a table, just go to the Home tab and select the format. Format as a table and select one of these. All right. So for me, it is already set on this one, so I don't need to make any changes. Another way to have this as a table is to hold Control and T buttons on your keyboard at the same time, and it will just help you to create a table or format this data as a table. It's going to do the same thing as this button as the in the home menu. All right, let's follow the steps that we have in here. Okay, so all right, so the first step is asking us that the data are sorted in the worksheet. In the orders are stored, not sorted, I'm sorry. The data are stored in the worksheet named as orders. So as I showed you, we can make it or format it as a table, and what I just did using Control T or format as table in the home menu at the top. Okay, then let's go to the second step. and recreate this graph, this pie chart together. All right, so I'm gonna just copy this instruction, and then I'm gonna create a new sheet, new worksheet, and I'm gonna just have these instructions over here just to refer to each step. While on the orders worksheet, from the insert tab, we're gonna select pivot chart, and then we're gonna create a pivot chart using some, but we're going to create the same pie chart that I just showed you using the options in the pivot chart. Okay, so you can go to the orders and then select the insert, okay, and then click on the pivot chart. That's one way to do it. All right, and it will create the pivot chart in a new worksheet. But if you want it in a sheet that you prefer to have, say this sheet one that I just created, I can simply create this sheet. Again, go to the insert and click on pivot chart. If your table has a name, type the name in here. If not, you're going to use the name that by default is given to that table by the Excel, or you can just put the range of the data set. Because it is easier to use the names, I'm going to go back to the orders worksheet and then go to the table design, and I'm going to change the table name to orders. It is easier to refer to the name rather than just typing the whole range of the columns and rows in the table. Okay, so let's go back to sheet one and create that pivot chart using the table orders. So again, I'm going to click on insert, select pivot chart, and put the name of the table over here, orders. When I click OK, I will see the fields that I should edit and create that pie chart. Now let's work on that part. We're gonna use the table and the place, and then we placed it in a new chart, in a new worksheet. And to recreate that pie chart, the next step is to place the market in the axis box and number of records in the value box. Okay, so I'm gonna have the market, just drag it and drop it in the axis box, and then number of the records in the value box. So at the first step, the default is to be the default of the chart is to be a bar chart, but I want to create a pie chart instead of bar chart. So I need to change the type of the I need to change the type of the this chart. So I'm going to go to the design tab at the top of the table. I'm going to select change chart type. Then I'm going to select pie. You can just select either of these depending on what type of chart you want to create. I want to just select this simple, this first one, and clicking OK, it's going to create this pie chart for you, but it is not clear what this chart is related to. It doesn't have a title, it doesn't have any numbers. It is hard to just compare these three groups. Are they exactly the same? Are they slightly different? So we are going to make some changes, make some edits on these charts, and to do that you just need to go to the design tab and select in the far left point, the far left of that menu, select the Add Chart Elements. You can add or remove the title of the chart. You can add or remove the data labels. Let's say I want to have this one, including the percentages for each category with the names of the category. Because I have the names over there, I can simply just remove the legend in this area. So I'm gonna just click legend and it will remove the legend for me. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, on this one. So I'm gonna remove the legend over there. Another way to just remove this stuff is just right click. For example, if I want to remove this sum of number of the totals, this gray box over here, I can right click on that and hide the value field button on the chart. Another thing, so this is not complete yet. Another thing is to edit the title of the chart. Okay, so this is showing the percentage of the percent of different markets that we have in our data sets. So let's just use orders by market as the title of the pie chart over here. Orders by market, because we have the percentage of the orders in each of these categories by the market. And you can see that these three categories that look to be the same, they are actually not exactly the same. The APAC is 22%, while the other two are 20%. Okay, so let me quickly read through the instruction just to make sure that we have not missed anything. But looking at the pie chart, you can see that we have everything cleanly provided and presented over here. All right. So to change the pie chart, go to the Design tab in the Pivot Chart Tools, group in the top ribbon and select Pie in Change Chart Type. In the far left of the Design tab, we use the Add Chart Element option to add data labels and remove the legend. Click on the title text to revise it, and right-click on the field label for some number of the records to hide it. Then we are going to rename this sheet, this worksheet, as pie chart. So we can easily refer to this later on when we want to. Let's go over step 3. In step 3, we're going to recreate this graph together. Okay, so let's have a new worksheet. And let me just quickly copy the steps over here. We're going to follow these steps. So the first step, the first part is to just do the same thing that we did earlier. We're going to go to the insert. We're going to select pivot chart, and we're going to add the name of the table over here. And we're going to have new pivot chart created, and it is empty yet because we need to select which variables and which type of the chart we want to be there. So to recreate the table, to recreate the chart in step 3, so we're gonna just change the, we're gonna just have the region. Let me find the region. Okay, here it is. We're gonna have the region in access box, and we're gonna have the profit. Here it is in the values, and you will see that a bar chart with columns of the bars are created. But in this scenario, in this situation, reading these names being vertical is very difficult. So we're going to create a horizontal bar chart. So to do that, go to the Design tab, then click the Change Chart Type and select the bar chart. It is going to just change or switch the axes together. You will have the name of the countries over here and the values over here. This graph is not clear yet, and we need to clarify what this chart shows, what it is about. So anyone that we share this with, they will know what's going on in here. So we have lots of countries with some showing some bar chart, some values for each of those countries with bar charts with no title for the graph. So we need to fix all of that. Okay. So let's follow the steps over here. So we did this part. Next, we're going to change the aggregation from sum to average. We want to see the average profit. So let's go here, and to change the sum to average, we're going to follow the same steps as we did in the pivot table. We're going to click on the value field settings and change the sum to the average. Okay, and we already changed the chart type to the bar, and we have the columns being horizontal bars now are horizontal. So we're going to remove the legend in the next step. Let's go to the Design tab, then in the far left select the legend and select none, and you will see that the legend has been removed. Then we're gonna right click on the region labels. Okay, and then you're gonna select sort, and you're gonna sort Z to A. The reason that I selected Z to A and still I have Africa at the top is that these always are sorted from the bottom to the top. That's why when I select Z to A, you will see the order to be like this, and having Africa at the top and West at the bottom. Okay, so then we're gonna select the numbers over here and change the number format. One way to do that is to go to the field settings and selecting this number format and selecting the currency or the type of the format that you want. That's one way to do it. Okay, let me cancel that to show the other one. The other one is just to simply double click on one of these numbers. Okay, and you will be able to find number over here with the same same options that you had in the field setting. Let me change that to the currency, and I don't want to have any decimal points. I want to keep the dollar sign, and the rest of the information is looks fine to me. So I'm going to close this, and I'm going to see all those dollar signs being added next to the numbers. Okay, so I changed the format of the number to the dollar values, and I remove the decimal places. Then next, let's edit the title of the bar chart. So this bar chart is, let me be consistent. I'm sorry. Okay, let me be consistent with what we had before. Can I minimize this? So I'm gonna simply just edit the title, and I want it to be consistent with this one that I have in the step 3. So I'm going to change that average profit per order. So I'm going to change the total to average profit per order. Okay. Remember that's note that some data analysts consider these grid lines, okay, just behind the bars, being distractive. They find it to be a junk part of the chart, and they believe that it should be removed. So it depends on you if you want to remove it. But if you wish to remove them, one way is just to click on them and use the delete on your keyboard, or you can just simply go to the design menu and select the add chart elements, and then remove the grid lines. By clicking on them once, you will see that this area has become white and there are no grid lines behind the bars anymore. Okay. Then let's rename this one to bar chart. Let's go to the next step and create a time series. We're gonna recreate this graph over here, which shows the trends in the profit by category, the category of the products that we have. So let me just copy these instructions. Then I'm gonna create a new sheet. I paste them here. I copied the wrong thing. So I'm gonna copy that again. I'm gonna go back to the new sheet, paste it over here, and then I'm gonna go to the Insert tab, select the pivot chart, have the name of your table over there, and you will have the pivot chart, an empty pivot chart, which needs to be edited and completed. Then place the order date, find the order date and place it on the axis. Okay, we want to see the time dimension on the horizontal axis, and the other variable that we want to see the trend of that on the vertical axis. And here we are interested in seeing the profit values. So let's drag profit into the values. And the type of the chart is not what I was expecting, so I'm going to go to the Design tab, select Chart Type, then select Line, select one of these, and when you hit OK, you will have a chart like this. It is not complete because this shows the total profit. I want to see that profit by the category. So I'm going to find the category. Let me find category, and here it is. We're gonna just have the category in the legend. You're gonna see that a new legend is created over here, and each of those categories have different graphs. This legend shows that blue color graph, the blue color chart or line is related to the furniture. The orange one is related to the office supply, and the gray one is related to the technology. Okay. Then let's click on these plus signs to have the information, have the time dimension being quarterly. If I click it once more, it will add monthly data, but I prefer to keep it quarterly, so I will have the quarters here. Okay. Then we're gonna just keep the legend because the colors of the trends vary, and we need to keep that legend, so we're not going to remove that. And we also need to add a label. So to add a title, I'm going to go to the design menu, select the add chart element, then I'm going to add chart title. above it. Okay. Then I'm going to call it or rename it into trends in profit by category. Okay. Next, I want to, so I cleaned up this graph a little bit, but it is not clear yet. Some I need some more information about the vertical axis to know what the unit for those numbers are. So I'm going to go to the number format. Okay, so find the number over here. Let's change that to the currency and let's get rid of these two decimal places and we will have dollar signs being added over here without decimal places and clearly shows that this is the total profit, the trend of the profit over the time, the profit over the time by each category. Okay. So next, let's go to the step 5. But before going there, let me mention something here. So you see that there is this table at the back of this graph. To get rid of that or to remove it so your Excel worksheet looks clean, one way to do it is to just select all of the colors simply by clicking and dragging over the names of the columns. Then if you right click over here and select hide, all of those columns will hide. So my graph is not hidden. I just need to expand it a little bit. All right. Now you see that in here, my worksheet looks much more clean when I do not have those columns. If you click on this, it will open up those columns again. Okay, so let's rename that to time series. I just renamed the worksheet and then I'm going to go to the step 5. This time we're going to recreate this graph, this horizontal bar. This is very similar to what we did earlier. I would suggest you to pause the video and try and see if you can create this. Okay, assuming that you just paused and try to recreate this graph, I'm gonna just recreate it over here. Let me just have the instructions to follow. Then I'm gonna follow the same steps as before to create the pivot chart. Let's go to the insert, select pivot chart, and have the name of the table over there and the pivot chart, empty pivot chart has been created. This time you want to have the number of the orders by market. So I'm going to find the market over here. Okay. And then I'm going to have the number of the records and the values. Then I'm gonna just go to the design, select change chart type. Excuse me, bar, selecting the chart type as bar and select OK, and you will have all this information. So there are three categories over here very close to each other. I want to sort this to look much more clean. So let's just click on these bars, then right click and sort from the largest to the smallest or smallest to the largest. Okay, that will just sort all this information. If you want to sort these by the name of the market or name of the these categories, you're gonna just right click on the names and let's sort it Z to A so I can have the APAC at the top. I want to be consistent with this one. Okay, so if you want to have APAC at the top, you're gonna sort by this. But if you want to have the values being sorted, you're gonna just right click on the bars and sort it from smallest to the largest. All right. Then let's go back to the design tab, select add elements, and let's remove the legend because it doesn't add any information to this graph. If you want to simply remove these, you can just right click and hide them. And next, let's just change the title of the figure to total orders by market. We just recreated the chart in step 5, and let's rename this worksheet to horizontal bar. Next, we're going to be working or recreating these vertical bars, and let's create a new worksheet, and I'm going to copy these instructions over there. You don't need to have those instructions. I keep them there so you can see what I'm doing one by one, step by step. Okay, so we're gonna have the same steps at the beginning, going to the insert, creating the pivot chart, having the name of the table, and just to make sure that I'm following each and every step, let me quickly just take a look at this one. So we're gonna have the number of the records by ship mode. So we're gonna have number of the records in the values, and let's find ship mode. It is here. We're gonna have ship mode in the axis. Okay, so you have all this information over here, but this just shows the total number of the records. Instead of these values, let's change that to the percentage. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the value field settings because I want to create a bar chart that includes the or shows the percentages of each category. So let's go to the value field settings and select show value as, then open this drop down menu and select the percent of grand total. Clicking OK, it will just change these numbers into percent of a grand total. Okay, so you see that we include this information over here. And if you want to simply remove these decimal points, you can just double click on these numbers, okay, and click on number over here and remove this decimal number and replace it with 0. After you click that, all those decimal places will be removed and you will see the whole numbers as the percentages on this column. This is not complete yet. Let's change the title to the what was it? Sorry, I forgot the name of that one. So we had the orders by the ship mode. Let me be consistent with this one. Total orders, distribution of orders by ship mode. So I'm gonna type in here distribution of orders by ship mode. And we do not need to have this legend. So let me remove that as well. So I'm going to go to the design tab, select the add chart element and select legend and select none so we can remove it. If you want to get rid of these grid lines, you can go to the add chart element, select grid line and click on this and you will have all those bars in the clean white environment. So let's rename the worksheet to vertical bar. Let's continue to step 7 and create the diverging bar. To create this diverging bar, we're going to have some additional work to do to have different colors over here. So let's create a new worksheet and let's have the instructions and the steps here. So we're going to repeat the steps that we used to make the pivot chart earlier. We're going to just insert pivot chart, orders. Okay. And then we're going to have drag the country to the access box and profit the value box, and then change the aggregation for profit from sum to the average by clicking on the value field settings, then select the average and click OK. You will have the average profit over here for all these countries. But you see, this is very messy. Let's clean it up a little bit because we cannot clearly see what's going on in here. So one way to do it is just to focus on specific categories that we are interested in. For example, let's add market to the filter box. Okay, I'm going to drag this market to the filter box. And then if you click on this arrow and select APAC only and click OK, you will have only part of the information over here. Another way to filter that is to click on this arrow at the table, this filter box at the table. You can select APAC from there. Clicking OK is going to do exactly the same thing. Okay, but we're going to work with the graph. We earlier talked about the pivot charts, the pivot tables in the previous lab. So for now, let's see how we can work in the environment of the chart itself. Okay. All right. So on our plot, we just kept the APAC and let's just the other step that we're gonna do is to just move these names slightly down so they don't fall over this part of this negative part of the bars. They cover those bars, and it is harder to read the name of the countries and see the chart itself. So what we are going to do, we are going to just right click on one of these names of the countries, then select format access. Okay, in the format access, go to the labels part, change the label position to low. You will see that all the names just moved slightly lower, and we have the graph much more cleaner and closer to the ready step. Okay, all right, so on the axis option, we just selected the low to reposition all of these names. And now let's right click on these bars. Okay. Right click on your bars and select the format data series. Then click on the paint bucket and select this fill, collapse the fill, and check the invert if negative. You will see that the ones that have negative values, the bars that have negative values, have been inverted. Their color have changed. The next step is to select the color for that. Let me just use green for the positive ones and red for the negative ones. Okay. Next, we're gonna just select the this format the profit axis. So to format the profit axis, you just need to right click on that, then click on the format axis, go to the numbers, change that to the currency. Let's remove the decimal places. And I want to show the negative values inside parentheses and with red color. So I'm going to select the last option over here, and I'm going to keep the dollar symbol just next to the numbers. And then I have this graph over here. If you want to remove the legend, you can just simply go to the design and click the legend and select none, or you can even replace it, like move it in any direction that you want. All right, so let's rename this or change the title to the average profit or loss per order. So I'm going to change this to the title to the average profit or loss per order. If you want to remove these numbers to keep the page clean, you can just you can select those columns, right click and select hide. And then you will have all the information that you need in this area and just keep the extra stuff hidden. So I'm gonna remove this. I'm gonna remove this one as well. I'm gonna just hide this one as well. Okay. All right. If you want to change the design of the graphs to any of these formats, you can do that. If you want to change the format, you can format of the text and all, you can change everything from here to make it aesthetically appealing. But I'm going to keep this as it is, and let me rename it diverging bar, rename the worksheet to diverging bar. And next we're going to go to the step 8. Step 8 is one of the figures that we're not going to use the pivot chart. We're going to, because this one shows each and every one of data points. So I need to have all that information over here. I'm going to go to the data, okay, and select the, let me see which variables we need. We're gonna need shipping cost and the profit. So I'm gonna go and find the shipping cost first. Here it is. Select the whole column, copy it, and then go to sheet 7 and paste it in one of the columns. Then go to the orders again, find the profit, because we want to create the scatter plot between these two variables. Okay, now that we have these two columns, I'm going to go to the insert, and in this area of the charts just next to the recommended chart, you're going to select this scatter plot option and select one of these, so you will see the scatter plot over here. Looking at this, it is not complete yet. We need to make some changes. For example, these numbers are again covered by the data itself. We can just double click on that and go to the, let me just collapse all of these. Oops, sorry, mistakenly just removed it, just closed it. So what we are going to do is go to the label and change this label option to the low. And you're going to see all those numbers just moved here. Okay. Then if you want to, let's say, add a, for example, excuse me, if you want to add a trend line, you're going to go to the chart design, add chart element, and you're going to add a trend line. Let's add a linear trend line. It's going to be very like the color is going to be the default color. So if you select that trend line, you can go to the format trend line. You can double click on that or right click on that and go to the format trend line, and you can make changes. Let's have it in black color. Select yes, give it a few seconds, and it will just change the color. If you want those points to be larger and more visible, you can change the width or the size of those ones. You can change the structure of the or the type of the line that you use. If you want a straight line, you can change it to straight line. Let's keep it as these same dots. So these dots show the trend line for this group, for this scatter plot. Then you can just format the axes exactly as we did before. If I want to have this information, right, in the currency form, I can select the currency. Let's change this decimal places to 0. If you want to have the negative values in parentheses, you can do that. If you want to have both loss and profit in the same color but still in parentheses, you can select this option. And I'm going to keep it all in black for now. Then you can also just format this axis. If you right click on that, then go to the numbers and let's change it to the currency, and let's have decimal places to be 0. Keep the graph clean. But the graph does not show the profit. We need to just describe what this graph is showing: relationship between profit and shipping cost. Relationship between profit and shipping cost. If you want to add some labels to either of the axes, you can go and add the label for those as well. So it will be clear which label is related to the profit and which label is related to the to the shipping cost. Okay, and you can simply just rename these axes. Okay, so this is shipping cost, and this is profit or loss. All right, next let's go over step 9, and before that, let me just rename the worksheet to scatter plot. And then we're going to go to step 9, creating a new worksheet, and we're going to follow these steps. The histogram is also the same. And we cannot use the pivot chart. So we're going to go to the new sheet that we created, and just like the scatter plot, we're going to need exactly the all the data points, all the observations that we have. I want to have the this histogram for the sales data set. So I'm going to copy those sales over here, and I'm going to go to the insert tab. This time you're going to select this option, which is going to create the histogram, and you're going to click on this, and it's going to create the histogram for you. Let's repeat that. Okay, so you see that we just created a histogram with lots of bars next to each other, which is very difficult to see. So let's just categorize the information that we have. Okay, so we're gonna go to the orders sheet again, and the first time we copied and paste the sales column into this new sheet, I'm gonna have the category and subcategory as well. So let's find the category. Here it is. Let's go back to the sheet that we were creating this chart. Create a copy category here. Let's go back and find the subcategory. And I'm going to click on the subcategory, click on worksheet, paste it over here. And then let's recreate this histogram. Just give it a second. It should create it right now. Not for that one. I need the histogram for this one. Okay. So now that I have all this information over here, I'm gonna just select these headers and then go to the Home tab. Okay, then select this filter option and select filter. You will see the category, subcategory, and sale to have an arrow just next to them. If you click on subcategory and let's remove the check for all and let's keep only the furniture. So you will see that the chart changed based on that reduction of the observations. Next, I'm gonna again just keep only tables and click OK. And your chart needs to be expanded so you can see all the information that you need over here. This shows the histogram for the for this part of the assignment. So the next step is to clean up this environment for this chart to make it clear that what this is about. Okay, so we first filtered to keep the part of the observations that we are interested in using the filter option. And then you can change the title to distribution of sales for tables. Distribution of sales for tables. Okay, so you see that we have this histogram. Well, you can format definitely these points or this axis over here with two different points. It shows the range of each of those bins that are used to create these bars for the histogram, but while you can format all of that, change that into the center of those bins, or anything that you are interested in about those groups, those bins, We're gonna see that recreating this histogram inside the environment of R is going to be much more easier. So we will work on that part later, and let's just keep this axis as it is. Okay, let's not format this, but if you want, you can still just go through the same steps and format the axis and change the details from here, but let's just keep it as it is. Now let's rename this worksheet into histogram, and before you close it, if you want to just clean up this environment a little bit, you can select these columns and hide them, or you can just keep them. Okay, and you can remove these instructions or keep them, and you can just do the same for each and every every worksheet that you created. And now you're done for this part of the lab assignment. Make sure to go to the file and save a copy. And rename the file to lab 3 and your initials. Make sure to save it in a place that you want to be able to see that later, to find that later. Okay, so I have it in my Eco 230 course through the week 4 assignments, and I'm gonna save it in the solution, so I can share it later with you guys if you need it. If I click the save button, it will save it over here. Okay, just give it a couple seconds until it saves the whole thing. And when it is saved, you can easily just simply close the Excel file. Okay, this is the Excel part of lab 3. Next, we're gonna just follow the instructions in the Tableau training, creating similar charts in that environment. Let's continue that in the next recording.